Now welcome to score entry. In this video I'm going to show you how to enter scores for students and how to generate their result slips at the end of every term or every semester. Now this is not an entirely separate module in Scrap. It is actually part of the scoring module. Sort of a continuation to my previous video, which was on the scoring module, where I was explaining how to prepare the system and get it ready for use. Right, so if you haven't watched my previous video on the scoring module, I urge you to do that. Right, now score entry is normally supposed to be done by the teachers. It is the role or the responsibility of the teachers or lecturers to be entering the scores for the students, so that by the time the semester ends or the term ends, the students would only log in and access their results. Right, but as an administrator, I have access to that as well. So let me log in as an administrator. So I'm going to log in as admin 1 and admin 1. Then I'll use that to demonstrate to you. Right, now when you log in as a teacher, you normally see a link here called score specify. So you simply have to click on it and it takes you there. Alternatively, you can look for it under the scoring module over here. So I click on scoring and then I look for score specify. Since the system has already been prepared and is ready for score entry, I can simply go ahead and click on score specify. Alright, these were the previous steps I went through in preparing the system, and since I'm done with that, I'm simply going to click on score specify and start entering scores for the students. Right, so let's go there. Now this is where you have to specify the academic year and term for which you want to enter scores for. As you can see, the system is showing us that we are in the 2013-2014 academic year, term 1. And so let's assume I'm going to enter scores for that academic year. So I select the academic year here and then the term, which is term 1. Right. Now under education ID, this is where I select the group of students for which I want to enter scores for. Is it the Bachelor of Science students, or is it the SHS students, or is it the primary students? Right. Now since I assume the generic institution which I created is a tertiary institution, and for that matter I created a class called Computer Science 1, which belongs to the Bachelor of Science students over here, and so I'm going to select BSc under Education ID. As you select it, you see the class and subject ID being populated for you. Alright, now here to have to select the class for which I want to enter scores for, which is only one class available, and then the subject for which I want to enter scores for, which is programming. Now over here we have work type. Let's assume it's classwork for which I'm entering the scores for, and it is the first class exercise. So under entry number I have to select 1. Right, there are cases you would want to specify 2 or more scores for the class. And so if it's a second exercise you want to enter, you select second. If it's a third you are entering, you select 3, etc, etc. Now since this is the first classwork I'm entering, I select 1. Now when you are computing the results of the students, there is an option where you specify that, okay, out of the 3 exercises that were given to the students, the system should use the best score for the student to compute the results. Or you can also tell the system that it should use the average score so it's going to find the average of all the 3 scores and then use it to compute the results of the students. Yes. Okay. So after filling in this fields, just continue and click on score specify, and then it takes you to the score sheet where you will actually be specifying the scores for the students. So I have here academic year, the term, the education ID, the class for which I'm entering the scores, and these are the list of all the students that belongs to this class. So automatically it has populated it for me here, right? And it's a programming subject that I'm entering scores for, and it's a first class work, right? So let's assume this student had, say, 80 over 100. So I'm going to enter 80 underscore, and then under ceiling, which is the total overall total, enter 100. So what this means is that this student had 80 over 100, right? So when you're done, you simply click on submit. Okay, then I'll have to select the next student, which is David 1, this one. Right, now let's assume he had 60 over 100. So I'm going to enter 60 underscore and then 100 under ceiling. Then I click on submit. Okay, so when I finish entering scores for all the students populated here for this class, I can simply go ahead and generate a report. Now this form, as you see at the moment, is called a form view. There is another format of the form called the grade view. So if I click on grade here, it will show me another format of the form. So it's showing me two records since there are two students belonging to that class. So I can simply scroll to the right, and then over here enter the scores for the students. So here it will show me the list of all the students in a grade form. So all I have to do is to enter the scores in the grade over here, 80 over 100, which I've already done. So it's showing me the same figure, 60 over 100. So I continue like that for all the students in this grid form. When I'm done, I simply click on submit over here, and it says completed for all. Okay, I can go back or I can close it. Right, now that I've finished entering scores for all the students for this class, I can go ahead and generate a sample report. Right, so normally the result slips are supposed to be generated by going to the criteria selection. This is where you can generate the result slip. So let me go there, click on criteria selection. So the system is waiting to populate these fields for me. Alright, so it has finished populating it. Now under the criteria selection, I have to specify the academic year for which I want to generate the result slip, the term, the education ID, the class for which I want to generate the result, and then there's the option for you to select the subject for which to generate the result slip for. If it's all the subjects that belong to the class that you want to generate, you can just check on this box and it's going to select all the subjects. But then you must make sure that you have entered scores for all the subjects before you can do that. But since I've only entered scores for programming, I'm going to select only programming. Then under work type, you have the option to select for which class exercise that you want to generate the results slip for. So since it's only classwork, I've entered results for. I'll click on classwork. Now entry type here by default is showing only one value, which is ETP1. So let's leave the default value. What this will be doing is, if you had entered about 3 scores for each student in the class, then it's going to find the average of all the 3 and use it to generate the results. That's the meaning of this ETP1. It's using the average score, right? That's the default one. Now entry number. So we are generating the results slip for over here. It means that we are generating the results slip for only the first class exercise which we entered scores for, right? Now percentage here, if you want the results to be in percentage form, the scores to be computed in percentage form, you can enter the percentage here, where maybe 30% or 70%, whatever. But let me leave that field blank. Right, so when I finish selecting the required field values, I can simply click on add and it comes here. Alright, under the criteria box. So from here I can go ahead and click on submit. Now before I click on submit, if we had entered scores for maybe another work type, say main exams, then there's this second option where we'll have to check this box range and then do the same thing, select academic year, etc, 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 before I click on the submit, so that it's going to combine the two work type, which is the class work and then the main exams, and generate the result slip for us. But since I have nothing for this other work type, I simply have to uncheck this box. Right. So from here I can simply go ahead and click on submit, and then I can view the results. Now there is this option here too. If you want the result that is going to be computed over here to be saved in the cumulative record, then you must check this box before you click on submit. Or if you want it to be saved in the continuous assessment, then you must check this box also before you click on submit. But without checking this box, it's only going to compute the result and generate the report for you. Right. So for demonstration purposes, let me just simply go ahead and click on submit. So it has computed the result for us. I click on OK. It takes us back to the criteria selection. So let me simply wait for these fields, for the page to finish loading. Alright. Now the next thing I have to do is simply, it says click on report display under user profile to view score results after submitting. Okay, so to view the result slip, I have to go to user profile, since I've already submitted, and look for report display, which is this one. Right, so that is the result slip. This is the institution, the email and telephone, and this is the student. Is showing us the academic year, which is 2013-2014 term 1, and it's for the Bachelor of Science students, and it's for the Computer Science 1 students. And this first report, the overall position, this person was the first person, and the overall remark is very good. And this is the student account number, and it's David 2. Right. So over here it's showing that in programming he had 80, and his position was the first person, and he had very good. Right. And this is the result for the second person in that class, which is David 1. This one. Okay. And he was, the overall position for him was 2, so he was the second in the class, and his remark is credit. Alright. And he's showing us that in programming he had 60 for classwork, and he was the second position, right? And the remark is credit. Right. So you can simply print out this result, and then for the student. This is actually supposed to be the logo of the institution. Right, so that's it. Let me go back. Now, if it is a tertiary institution where they use what we call weighted average or weighted score, then what we should have done is to check this box called rated score. That is if it's for tertiary institutions, that's universities and colleges. Then before you come here and click on report display, you must check this box before you do that. That is for the tertiary institutions. So I go there and look for report display. So the format of the results slip for the tertiary institutions differs from the primary JHS SHS students. Alright, so when you check that box, you have this format of the results slip. In the tertiary institution, they use what we call credit hours. So on the results slip, you are seeing credit hours, which was 3. So it's multiplied the 3 by the 80, and then the weighted score was 240. Right. And similarly, he's a first person in the class, and the remark was very good. Alright, now so here it's showing us the total credits. For now, the total credit hours is 3, and then the total score is 240. So the average or rated score will be 240 divided by 3, which is 80 for now, as you can see. So this is like a formula that the universities use to compute the average score for, or the weighted average score for the students. Right. And this is for the second student in that class, and his score was 60. Right. So just note that if it's a tertiary institution, then you must check this box before you click on report display. But if it's not a tertiary institution, then there is no need for you to check this box before viewing the results slips. Alright. Now let me show you where you can set the remarks. That is, for instance, if a student scores between 80 and 100, what should be the remark to be shown on the report? You can do that by going to settings and look for, maybe it's not here, it's rather under settings too, and look for remark. This is where you set the remark, and then this is where you'll be setting the formula to be used to compute the results. Alright, so let me go over the remark. Now we are on the remark. Let me simply click on report and see what information I have about this page. Alright, so from this, it's telling us that when a person scores between 90 and 100, the remark or the description should be excellent. If the person scores between 80 and 89.9, the description or the remark should be very good, as you saw on the report. And if the person scores between 70 and this is good, 60 between 60 and this is credit, pass, fail. Right. So this is where you actually set the remark to be used on the results slips. Right. So here this means the lower value, and then this is the upper value. So if you want the remark for score between 90 and 100, like this, should be excellent, then this is how you are going to do it. So the lower value is 90, the upper value is 100, and the description should be excellent. Then the remark ID, the remark to me, then you submit. So that is how the steps I use to create these remarks, right? And it may differ for institutions from institution. So right, so that's it for score entry and results accessing. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Bye.